Isang mapagpalang araw sa inyong lahat, mga kamag-aral. Ako po ang inyong lingkod, Sir Mandy, na magbabahagi sa inyo ng isa na namang math video tutorial para sa araw na ito. In our today's episode, ito ay para sa ating mga senior high school grade 11 students na kumukuha ng general mathematics. At ngayon, ang topic natin is all about evaluation of function. At ito ang mga objectives natin sa lesson natin ngayon. Una, we will evaluate a function. And we will solve problems involving evaluation of function. Ang isang prerequisite natin para matuto tayo kung paano mag-evaluate ng isang function ay dapat alam natin ang konsepto ng tinatawag nating GEMDAS. Ang GEMDAS ay isang acronym ng mga salitang grouping symbols, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Kapag tayo ay nag-simplify ng dalawa o higit pang operations sa isang algebraic o numerical expression, the order of this letter in GEMDAS ay nag-i-indicate kung ano ang maunang i-calculate, ano ang susunod hanggang makuha natin ang isang simplified expression. Evaluating a function means replacing the variable in the function, in this case x, with the value from the function's domain and computing for the result. Sa madaling salita, ang pag-evaluate ng isang function ay pagpapalit lamang ng isang itinalagang numero para sa isang variable tulad ng x para malaman natin ang value ng isang function. To denote that we are evaluating f at a, for some a in the domain of f, we write f of a. Dito, ang a ay nagre-represent ng any number sa isang set of real number system. For example number 1, if f of x equals x plus 5, evaluate the following: a, f of 2, b, f of negative 3, c, f of 0, d, f of x minus 1, and e, f of 2x plus 1. Start tayo sa a. Given f of x equals x plus 5, let us evaluate f of 2. Para makuha ang value ng f of 2, lahat ng x ng f of x ay papalitan natin ng 2. So we have f of 2 equals 2 plus 5. Therefore, f of 2 equals 7. For letter B, given f of x is equal to x plus 5, evaluate f of negative 3. So using the same procedure, lahat ng x sa f of x ay gagawin nating negative 3. So we have f of negative 3 equals negative 3 plus 5. And then, i-simplify natin. So we have f of negative 3 equals positive 2. For letter C, let us evaluate f of 0. Again, using the same procedure, palitan natin ang x ng 0. So we have f of 0 equals 0 plus 5. And 0 plus 5 is equal to 5. Therefore, f of 0 is equal to 5. For letter D, let us evaluate f of x minus 1. So dito, lahat ng x sa f of x ay gagawin nating x minus 1. Therefore, we have f of x minus 1 equals x minus 1 plus 5. Tapos, lahat ng similar terms ay i-simplify natin, tulad ng negative 1 plus 5. And negative 1 plus 5 is equal to 4. So therefore, f of x minus 1 is equal to x plus 4. For letter E, let us evaluate f of 2x plus 1. So dito, yung x, papalitan natin ng 2x plus 1. Kaya we have f of 2x plus 1 equals 2x plus 1 plus 5. And then let us simplify similar terms like 1 plus 5. And 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. Therefore, f of 2x plus 1 equals 2x plus 6. Okay, let us have example number 2. If f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1, evaluate the following. F of 1, f of negative 1, f of 0, f of x minus 1, f of x plus 2. For A, given f of x equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 1, evaluate f of 1. Palitan natin lahat ng x sa f of x by 1. So we have f of 1 equals 2 times the quantity of 1 square plus 3 times 1 minus 1. Now, using Gemda's rule, kunin natin ang square ng 1, which is also equal to 1, at yung product ng 3 and 1, which is 3. So we have f of 1 equals 2 times 1 plus 3 minus 1. Now let us get the product of 2 and 1, which is equal to 2. So we have f of 1 is equal to 2 plus 3 minus 1. And 2 plus 3 minus 1 is equal to 4. So we have f of 1 equals 4. For letter B, let us evaluate negative 1. So lahat ng x sa f of x ay papalitan natin ng negative 1. So we have f of negative 1 equals 2 times negative 1 square plus 3 times negative 1 minus 1. Using Gemda's rule, kunin natin yung square ng negative 1, which is equal to positive 1, at yung product ng 3 and negative 1, which is equal to negative of 3. Kaya we have f of negative 1 equals 2 times 1 minus 3 minus 1. And then, kunin natin yung product ng 2 and 1. And that is equal to positive 2. So, we have f of negative 1 is equal to 2 minus 3 minus 1. And 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And negative 1 minus 1 is negative of 2. Therefore, f of negative 1 equals negative of 2. Now, for letter C, let us evaluate f of 0. Meaning, lahat ng x sa f of x ay papalitan natin ng 0. So, we have f of 0 equals 2 times 0 square plus 3 times 0 minus 1. Dahil ang value ng variable natin ay 0, ibig sabihin, ang value ng mga terms na ito ay 0 na rin. Kaya we have f of 0 equals 0 minus 0 minus 1. Therefore, f of 0 is equal to negative 1. Okay? So let us evaluate f of x minus 1. Meaning to say, lahat ng x sa f of x ay papalitan natin ng x minus 1. So, we have f of x minus 1 equals 2 times the quantity of x minus 1 squared plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 1 minus 1. To simplify this, gagamitan natin ito ng tinatawag na special product. Specifically, the square of binomial. Sabi sa square of binomial, x plus y squared is equal to x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. Kaya, the quantity of x minus 1 squared is equal to the x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then, next, gamitan natin ito ng tinatawag na distributive property. Sabi sa distributive property, A times the quantity of B plus C equals AB plus AC. So, meaning, multiply natin yung 3 dun sa x at sa negative 1. So, we have 3 times x and 3 times negative 1 is equal to 3x minus 3. And then, minus 1. Next, i-distribute naman natin yung 2 sa loob ng trinomial. Again, using distributive property. So, we have 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x. And 2 times 1 is positive 2. And then, so bring down lang natin yung 3x minus 3 minus 1. This time, let us combine similar terms. Yung 2x squared ay walang katulad, kaya okay lang na isulat agad natin siya. Next, we have negative 4 plus 3x. So, negative 4x plus 3x is equal to negative x. Then, for the constant, 2 minus 3 minus 1 equals negative 2. Therefore, f of x minus 1 equals 2x squared minus x minus 2. For letter E, let us evaluate f of x plus 2. Meaning to say, lahat ng x sa f of x ay papalitan natin ng x plus 2. So, we have f of x plus 2 equals 2 times the quantity of x plus 2 square plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 2 minus 1. So, to simplify this, so gamitan uli natin ito ng special product. Okay? So, the quantity of x plus 2 square is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then, times 2 sa labas. Next, let us distribute 3 sa loob ng binomial using distributive property. So, we have 3 times x is 3x and 3 times 2 is 6. And then, minus 1. Sunod, i-distribute natin yung 2 sa loob ng trinomial. Kaya we have 2 times x squared is 2x squared. Then 2 times positive 4x, that is positive 8x. And 2 times 4 equals 8. And then, copy lang natin yung 3x plus 6 minus 1. This time, let us combine similar terms. Dahil walang katulad si 2x squared, so siya ang una nating isusulat. Then we have 8x plus 3x. Since they are both positive, i-add lang natin. So we have 8x plus 3x is 11x. Then for the constant, 8 plus 6 is equal to 14 minus 1 equals 13. Therefore, f of x plus 2 equals 2x squared plus 11x plus 13. Okay, let us have example number 3. Evaluate the piecewise function at indicated value. So we have g of x is equal to x squared plus 1 if x is less than 0, and x plus 1 if x is greater than or equal to 0. So let us find g of negative 3, g of negative 1, g of 0, g of 1, and g of 2. Okay, let's begin with g of negative 3. Negative 3 is actually less than 0. Kaya, ang gagamitin nating function is g of x equals x squared plus 1. And then, lahat ng g of x, gagawin nating negative 3. So, we have g of negative 3 equals negative 3 squared plus 1. And negative 3 squared is equal to 9. So, we have 9 plus 1. And g of 3 is equal to 10. Okay, let us have g of negative 1. Negative 1 is also less than 0. So, therefore, ang gagamitin nating function is x squared plus 1. Kaya we have g of x is equal to x squared plus 1. And then, lahat ng x kay g of x, gagawin nating negative 1. So, we have g of negative 1 equals negative 1 squared plus 1. And the square of negative 1 is equal to 1. So, we have g of negative 1 equals 1 plus 1. And 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. So, we have g of negative 1 equals 2. And that is our final answer. Okay, let us have g of 0. 0 belongs to x is greater than or equal to 0. Kaya ang gagamitin nating function ay g of x equals x plus 1. So, lahat ng x kay g of x ay gagawin nating 0. So, we have g of 0 is equal to 0 plus 1. So, therefore, g of 0 is equal to 1. Okay, for g of 1, since 1 is greater than 0, so, again, ang gagamitin nating function ay g of x is equal to x plus 1. And then, palitan natin ng 1 si x. So, we have g of 1 is equal to 1 plus 1. Therefore, g of 1 is equal to 2. Okay, for g of 2, since 2 is greater than 0, so again, gamitin natin si g of x is equal to x plus 1. So, palitan natin lahat ng x ng 2. So, we have g of 2 equals 2 plus 1. Therefore, g of 2 is equal to 3. Okay, for example number 4, the velocity v in meter per second of a ball thrown upward t seconds after the ball was thrown is given by v of t equals 20 minus 9.8 t. Calculate v of 0 and v of 1. Okay? For v of 0, using the formula v of t equals 20 minus 9.8 t. So, si t, palitan lang natin ng 0. So, we have v of 0 equals 20 minus 9.8 times 0. Since 9.8 times 0 is equal to 0, therefore, v of 0 is equal to 20 meter per seconds. For v of 1, using the same formula, v of t equals 20 minus 9.8 t. Palitan natin si t ng 1. So, we have v of 1 equals 20 minus 9.8 times 1. So, we have v of 1 is equal to 20 minus 9.8. And 20 minus 9.8 is equal to 10.2 meter per second. And that is our v of 1. Okay, for our last example. For your bicycle business, the net profit for renting n bicycles is P of n equals 25n plus 100. If you rent 5 bicycles, what is your net profit? Okay, so sagutan natin to. Now, since ang given natin ay P of n equals 25n plus 100, at ang hinahanap natin ay P of 5. So, lahat ng n doon sa P, gagawin natin 5. Kaya we have P of 5 equals 25 times 5 plus 100. And 25 times 5 is equal to 125 plus 100. Therefore, your net profit is 225 pesos. At hanggang dyan po magtatapos ang ating episode sa araw na ito. Umaasa po ako na kayo ay may mga natutunan sa aking video tutorial. Kung may mga comments, suggestions, at questions, mangyari lamang pong mag-iwan sa ating comment box para mabigyan pansin ko ang mga nais ninyo. Lagi pong tandaan, mathematics is not about numbers, equations, computations, or algorithms. It is about understanding. At bago magpaalam, huwag pong kalimutang i-like and share ang aking video lesson at please subscribe na rin po sa aking YouTube channel, Kamat Aral TV, for more video lesson to come. Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood at pakikinig. Hanggang sa muli, Kamataral, paalam!